The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. Once more into the breach do we go, dear friends. As always, we meet at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Almost every day. Oh, there they are. We're a little slow on the pickup today. Anyway, what do we have happening today? Well, we are off 17 points on the S&P cash. We went down. We just have recently tested the low of the days. Not a lot of volume so far. 1.9 billion shares on the New York Consolidated Tape. And we'll get into some issues today. If anybody knows Tony Robbins, ever saw him, he did a good example in one of his speeches about correlation is not causation. And he brings it up regularly. He was doing a show, and for some background art, they dragged out a suit of metal armor and put it behind him, and some other weird things, as they do. If you ever watch like comedy stand-up specials, if they're in a big auditorium, they'll put some artistic work. They don't want to make it too obnoxious, but they kind of put something behind everybody. So it's not just a brick wall like you see in a lot of comedy stores. But every time he started walking closer to the metal suit of metal armor, his wireless microphone started to act up. He backed up, and it got better. So he moved forward closer to the suit of armor, and it started messing up again. Well, he kind of just went over on the other side of the stage, did about 15 minutes. And came over and walked up to the suit of armor, and nothing changed. And the microphone was just fine. Then he walked away from it, and the farther he walked away from it, the microphone continued to mess up. So now just the opposite was happening. Well, what they figured out was that while he goes to a great many different places in the country, his microphone frequency was the same as the local police department. And as they would drive up and down over the next 3 or 4 days as he was holding his little mini conventions as he does, it would affect the microphone. Finally, he just got a wired one. The point is, correlation is not causation. And I'm going to bring up alternate theories of maybe what's happening this week. And the thing is it easy to pick something out that causes a reaction? The answer is yes, but I kind of like scientific a little bit. And there's a little thing called Occam's razor, and a lot of people get it wrong. But to boil it down, it's don't make a lot of wild assumptions to make what you have out there a reality. It's probably keep things simple. The simpler you make them, the less that they rely on a deity, on the movement of planets. Probably the better off you are. That's if you're kind of scientifically inclined. If you're not, well, I don't know. But let's just try to not get too wound up this week. I have an alternate theory about what's going on and why the markets are down. And let's find out whether or not you think that it is just a little bit more plausible than some of the wild stuff I've been seeing people talk about on CNBC today. Anyway, we shall move on. And, of course, the first step in getting the Power Trading Hour on the tracks is getting a little history, a little background for today.
That it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1955, President Eisenhower suffers a heart attack. The stock market has a coronary right with him, plunging almost 6.62%. I think that was on the Dow. Even the remains of one of the worst daily losses of the last 100 years. So do political issues actually have ramification? The answer is yes. The problem is, just like what are the chances of a giant meteor hitting the United States and wiping, or the rest of the planet, and wiping us all out? Well, the problem is it only happens every couple million years, or even 5 or 10 million years, or even 20 or 70 million years, if you're talking about a planetary killer. How do you, when something only happens every 70 million years, how do you put odds on something like that? Well, it's kind of tough. You know, we see how the markets react a lot of times. But I guess if I went back and looked at that chart already, I bet that chart was probably a little bit weak. I bet the market was probably a little overblown already. I think there were probably simpler answers to why you had a 6.62% and one of the biggest moves in a single day. And it didn't have a lot to do with wild speculation. It had to do with something that actually did happen. And again, we're going to talk more about alternate theories of what's happening this week. Apple is up today, but it was very interesting because this article that I found was rather buried today, hasn't been talked about on the financial infotainment television shows. And that is that sales are way down for Apple in Europe and China. In fact, the company that's kind of like a couple here in the United States tracks sales for electronic products. GFK is the name of that company. They used to be called something else, and I just can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, they went and did a lot of surveys and channel check on the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus. Its sales in the 12 European countries, the biggest of the, I think, 36 EU countries. They also have outfits in Japan, China, Taiwan, and Australia. And overall, but fairly close in each of the countries, sales, first 3-day sales were down about 25%. Not talked a lot about this. And very interesting that the absence of news is not the lack of news. It has a lot to do with what everybody is pushing for their agenda, which I think has a lot more to do about what's going on. You know, if you don't report it, does a tree fall in the woods? It still falls. My guess is that you're going to see this start to matter. As they say often in the market, it doesn't matter till it matters. Well, my guess is we're probably going to see a few more people pick up on this in the next couple of days. Apple up 26 cents. We'll be back after the break.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Anyway, security experts have warned that a new feature in Apple's system has made it tons easier for passwords to be hacked. And I will almost give you, in fact, I'll give you one of these.
I informed you thusly.
I did inform you thusly. I told back during the big hacking scandal after the terrorists in California, where they said that there was no way that they could hack the phone anymore. Well, a gentleman has come out with a video and a white paper telling you exactly how to do it. And it was pretty much exactly what I said, which is they unsoldered the memory chips off of the board and put them in a little container and just sucked all the stuff out of the chip. And that was pretty much it. So it's pretty much public knowledge about how to hack a iPhone if you physically have custody of it. And all those surface-mounted memory chips now are pretty easy. You kind of use an infrared or even a laser just to melt the solder joints, pop the thing off, and you've got the memory. If you got physical control of the device, that's about it. So I'm not thinking. I just wondered whether all of Apple's bravado about not helping the CIA was just kind of a smokescreen. Well, certainly they've made it a lot easier in the latest version for passwords to be hacked. But somebody in the den brought up something else, and there was a video out last week that's gotten a lot of traction. I've seen videos from this person and persons like them before, but of course it was all about the headphone jack is. This is the parody video. The headphone jack is in the iPhone 7. All you got to do is drill a little hole to get to it. And, of course, it didn't exist in there. But the same person had actually, guy makes a lot of money because he makes videos with titles like How to Get Free Cable, right? And he comes up with these kind of weird ideas of putting aluminum foil around the coax and every stuff that would never work, right? And you put these little discs on these things, and you'll get free cable. Well, every moron in the world who thinks that they want to get free cable goes and watches it, and you'll get 500,000 views or 1 million views, end up making him about 10, 15 G's. So these are the kind of videos that are out there on YouTube. You do have to watch them, but of course, I think it actually said parody somewhere on it, so I'm not going to get too wound up. Now, my alternate theory for what is happening out here has very little to do with any kind of Nostradamus-like projections for the market. It has a lot to do with the unknown. Yellen will be out talking on Wednesday to Congress. In the meantime, there will be 12 other Fed speeches this week, starting tomorrow. So don't be all up in everything. Without these speeches, maybe you can make a case for politics pushing this market around. I can make a case that it's much more likely that what the Fed does has a lot more to do with what traders do. And with 12 speeches and Yellen having 2 rounds at the congressional level, my guess is that they're a lot more worried about what she has to say, because guess what? There's going to be a lot of people on her back asking her very hard questions about why they didn't raise last year, why they can't raise this year. Why is it that the economy is so weak you can't raise, Mrs. Yellen? And then, of course, on the opposite side is everybody will starve if you raise rates. Why would you be cruel? So there's going to be a lot of political posturing out here. But I think a lot of people are worried that Yellen might say something in the heat of the moment. But others are going to be out, and they want to let us know that they are raising rates sooner rather than later. But sooner means December. But get ready. 12 Fed speeches by 12 sitting members. I don't know. Some of them are making multiple speeches. I just saw on the calendar the 12 speeches. Not exactly sure if that includes the ones that Janet Yellen will be doing Wednesday and others. Kind of confused on their website. Just be ready. And as I often say out here, was it songs? Is that what I like? I forgot to do that. Did I have it? Maybe it's in my queue. Yeah. This is my new Fed theme song. They talk too much, don't they? Don't you love for the day before they were always jacking? Oh, things were a lot easier. John Gilmore, an American entrepreneur and civil libertarian, once famously quipped that the internet predicts and interprets censorship as damage in the system and routes around it. This is pretty, it's worked up a great deal to that. But we now see national governments like Russia and others do this denial of service attacks. And Google's fired up a new system for reporters that actually want to not be censored, especially by nation states that can ramp up denial of service attacks so people couldn't get to your website. Brian Krebs is one of the heroes out here for reporting, especially in technology hacking. He's been the target of people from stealing his credit cards to actual death threats. And I think someone's taken a shot or two at him for a while. He went through 2 denial of service attacks as he was spilling the beans on some hackers the last few weeks. Alchemy, yeah, I think was the company that finally had to drop him. They were giving him free data and everything else, but they just they were shutting down their systems and they couldn't make money anymore. Google has stepped in to go and do it, but censorship, whether it is by nation-state actors or our own government, can be a real thing even in the day of the internet. do have to say some kudos out here for Google for stepping up and giving a place that is pretty much impenetrable for people like Brian Krebs. If you don't remember him, he's the guy that broke the story where everybody else buried it, including people like CNBC, of Target's breaches in the actual Omron machines that read the credit cards. He's also been in about 4 or 5 other major cases. He's also brought several people to justice that have been long-term evil hackers, not just the kind that are trying to give us a little view of what our political betters do out there by hacking their email accounts and letting us see. But I do have to say I took a little bit of glee to see some people's emails out there. George Soros' emails, very interesting. Of course, a former Secretary of State and his comments on a former president were very entertaining too. People speak like that in private. We'll be back. We've got a few more things to talk about and then some charts.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Anything you can be, I can
do. Yeah, that's interesting. I would rather see this tonight.
Food fight!
I would. And, of course, I will be watching. I'll let everybody else go and flog themselves all night long. I think there's probably something better to do. Doesn't it just encourage them? That's one thought. After the bell tomorrow night, we've got Centos, the uniform company. Nike also give a little bit. They had a little downgrade today. I'm not exactly sure what that's about. Paychecks before the bell on Wednesday. Pier 1 imports, if business after the bell on Wednesday. And that's about it. There's very little in the way of earnings calls coming out here. And that is means that probably for intraday volatility, short of Fed speak, I don't see a lot going on. Housing numbers were pretty weak, just morning down about 7.6% year over year, showing a little bit of weakness in that market. Let's take a quick look at Apple as we start off. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, you can post messages in the den also. What do we have? Okay. You know, Apple did get back up to this gap down. The gap happened on 47 million shares. Got into it with 90 million shares, which implies that maybe you at least test 116.18 again. A little gap down today. In fact, let's do this. Let's take a look at the little short interest on it. You had what, if it was just a little bigger on the 15th, you could have had what some people call three advancing soldiers. Certainly you had two gaps. I would like to see, especially in this kind of move, hopefully, when you actually look at what that gap was, that maybe you get one more gap up, and that sets the hook on Apple. Long term, if you were thinking about shorting something like that, and I wouldn't, I'd probably short everything else around Apple, the companies that actually supply them. But if you could get one more gap up, I think you would have one of the better three-gap plays to the downside. Now, you can actually make a case that this giant gap that was a gap of a gap was the first gap, too. I wish it was a little plainer and these gaps higher were a little bigger. But being Apple and knowing that it is a cult stock, I always look for one more than you should get, and maybe even two more than you should get out here at highs. Checking in with the market, still around the lows with just over 2 billion shares. So volume is not brisk. In fact, it's probably a little on the tepid side. We'll see how the close comes in today. But again, volume at the highs was very weak. So what else do you have? First, Majestic Silver. I wanted to see how this came into the previous low. This gapped up and has formed a gap on the, what is that, June 3rd, 7.1 million shares. Came back into it with huge volume, the September 1st low. So you knew that it was going to actually get a retest of that low. Not too bad today, about 4 million shares compared to that 18 million shares so far today. So I'll be keeping a look at and an eye on that for a while. Got a few stocks out here that look like maybe they're starting to break some trends. CDW, the computer parts and what would you call them? Just component supplier, right on the edge of a 9-day simple moving average. I would watch for this one. Any kind of break, and it's back down to the 43 level on it. MasterCard had a very light test of the top, and why the energy did fairly much pull back on this last leg up from June 6th to the highs. I think this one could get one more test of the top, too, which I dislike. So there's a lot of them that I'm pulling my punches on here. November 11th, 2015, 101.76 on MasterCard. Pierced it on September 22nd with this 3.3 million shares. So we came in at 2.2 million shares light on 5.5 million shares. So fairly significant. You do have a double gap around that 94 to 95 level. My guess is that the first pullback of a note would probably be around that $94, $95 level. This stock has kind of perplexed me. It's made a variety of very weak signals, only to come back bigger and better. It has done so yet again. Mercado Libre, which is a payment, kind of a PayPal for South America, it has given a fairly bearish signal. The September 6th high at 1.5 million shares with just 500,000 shares on the 23rd. Got a little doji out here today, so keep a very good eye on it. This did pop to the highs, pulled back to the September 15th low, which is the top of the last big sign of strength, which takes you to the 5th of, what is that, 5th of August. And that's kind of what we're riding on right now. As you came back higher, really didn't see a lot. But I think this is going to tell us a lot more about what's happening. Now, one of the reasons I'm more interested than anything on MELI is just how bad the crop situation has been. And, of course, how much, was it coffee and cocoa and 3 or 4 other crops down there in Brazil are doing. Some very bad news this morning. They even hit the mainstream press that's outside of the financial press. So kind of a big deal. I'll have to wait for Andy to check in and tell me exactly just how bad it was. But if I listened to the news, I would have thought that things were fairly bad in South America for crops at least this year. Rexford Industrial Realty. Wanted to see how this one busted. It was fairly light volume on Friday. Today, about 508,000 shares. So it may actually be able to bust the September 6th high. So we'll keep an eye on that one. TEN, which is Tenco, has been bouncing against these highs. The last major high was 1.9 million shares on April 26th, and that was 57.73. We got into it with and went above it, reversed, got back into the trading range. A little bit more move back down today, but you were coming into this April 26th high on 25% of the volume, and that will not stand at all. Again, give me a call at 877-927-6648. So what? What else do we have? UBS or CS, which one's the short? I'd have to say UBS, but I don't know. Don't look at UBS. I would say that one would be, I just don't short stocks that are below 30 bucks. It does not get my interest on UBS, any of the others. That's the problem with financials. They've all been beaten so badly because they're not expensive enough to buy puts.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
If you're looking to discover a new financial resource and diversify your financial portfolio, consider the new Market Safe Focus Commodity CD from Everbank. This 5-year U.S. dollar-denominated CD gives you exposure to 6 equally weighted commodities, including gold, silver, copper, nickel, soybeans, and sugar, in one powerful CD. With annual pricing caps of 50% per component, you could earn up to a 50% upside payment at maturity if the commodities increase in value across annual pricing dates. And should the opposite occur, your principal principal is 100% protected. Keep in mind, returns are based on CD performance. There is no annual percentage yield or periodic rate of interest on this index CD. Don't miss out. Take advantage of this financial resource designed to grow with the times. The October 13th funding deadline will be here before you know it. So hurry over to everbank.com/TFNN for the CD's term sheet and other important product details and disclosures. Once again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. This advertisement is sponsored content. Everbank is a member FDIC.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile-based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
There's no truth to the rumor that I bought Twitter. I'll say that right now. No truth at all. I had a few things going on out here, and that is Taiwan Semiconductor. Put this in the newsletter the last few days. It kind of worried me out here to think that the semi space may be out of juice, but certainly we have a fairly decent, good signal on Taiwan Semiconductor, TSM. The September 7th high, 14 million shares. You pull back to $28.20 on September 12th. Come back, try to run through the highs again. The most you get is 8 million shares. You actually had 5.3 million shares on the 22nd. Then you pull back down. Now, not a lot of volume today, but again, markets do not turn on a dime or stop on one. And it reminded me of a guy that, well, I'll move on. But light volume, you got 50% of the volume at the highs. This is not the kind of things that massive markets that are going higher do. There's so many more stocks like this. I had a question in the den from Dan in Clearwater. He wanted to look at Skyworks Solutions, SWKS. I went through the bill of materials on the Apple phone in the Tech Insider last week. Was it 8 days ago now? 9 days ago, and went through every chip that's in it and who makes the money and who doesn't. But for the most part, if you're looking to see whether or not you can do something, this one did have a nice little high out here, probably going to get retested. That's why you would probably want to look at that $78 range to pull the trigger on this on light volume. The confirming stock on this one should be Qualcomm. So when you look at Qualcomm out here busting the $61 level, gapped up on okay earnings, question is how does this thing pull back? And I don't have anything really good on Qualcomm. If the signal on Qualcomm actually started getting a lot better, either one, long or short, then maybe that would be a better way to look at Skyworks Solutions. By itself, it is very hard to get a read on it, but the stock that probably is the most correlated to Apple is Qualcomm. Skyworks Solutions, a few of these smaller ones are pretty vastly overpriced. They probably will move a great deal more. So you want to kind of look at the second and third tier level parts manufacturers in Apple, where basically they have one customer. If that customer does bad, they're going to get walloped. Qualcomm still does a great deal of business in Android and other phones out there, which is still 80% of the business. It's just the big business is for these small companies that basically have to go all in to produce what Apple needs for them. I've been watching this Uranium Resources, URRE, out here, kind of base out. Very interesting chart pattern. I don't know if there's a great deal going to happen with nuclear energy in the near future, but kind of interesting to take a few looks at that, which made me want to think and take a look at CCJ and see how this one's doing. It's come way off. Not exactly sure why everything's so bad out here, other than the fact that the Russians probably won't need to buy any uranium. They got their hands on ours, so it probably doesn't matter. But at some point, I think we're probably going to see a lot more uranium use, and keep an eye on it. But there is another reason that you may be wary of uranium processing, and that is that they've been working on a new way to do it. For anybody that knows anything about nuclear energy, there's a couple of ways to refine uranium and plutonium for use in power production, was even just get away from nuclear bombs. The first way is the way we did it in 1944, which is basically turning huge amounts of electricity into something that works about the same as a soft water filter. If you're down here in Florida, you've got filtered water, or you love tasting horrible water, or lots of places in the country where there's too much iron. It works on a process that's very much like that. It's a membrane that has to be pushed through, but it takes massive amounts of electricity. I think we even shut down the last plant that did that a few years ago. There's a second way of doing it, which is the way everybody likes to do it now, which is the centrifuge way of doing it, and the way that the North Koreans and other bad actors do it, because, of course, the Pakistani guy, A.Q. Khan, sold the way to do it to anybody that was willing to cough up the cash. So everybody out there is pretty much doing this centrifuge way of doing things. But there is yet another way coming, and that way means that you may be able to get uranium even from seawater. It's going to be using lasers, and could get incredibly cheap to process uranium. And I'm wondering how much pressure there is on this new technology, how far it's gone. The government's kind of kept a lid on a lot of the information, but things do change. Would be very interesting to see a new technology in the way that uranium isotopes, i.e. uranium-235 and 238, only about, in nature, only about 0.75% is the stuff that goes boom, and that's what you're looking for. Either that or the 99% stuff that you can stick in a reactor and create plutonium with. But again, you're probably making a bomb with it. So if you're just talking about using it for ongoing stuff, kind of an interesting business, but also maybe a business that's changing. But maybe Kimiko's telling us that that laser, the ability to use lasers to separate uranium may be something that's working out there. And the idea of just how much uranium there is in just seawater might also be something that is coming out. It's been rumored for years about that. But I think we brought this up once before. A gigawatt power plant, I think, needs 88 coal cars a day, every day of the year to produce enough power. Half a coal car worth of uranium has the same amount for an entire year. So a little bit in there in the way of just how much energy is in uranium. 88 cars a day, or half a car for a year. And they're in that business. Maybe I'll have to call them one day in investor relations and see if they've figured anything else out. But if Kimiko or any of these other companies that refine uranium can't keep up with the current costs, then that would be a big deal. I know, like I said, there are other companies out here trying to use lasers to do this at a much cheaper price point than what has been done in the past, which is the centrifuges. We will be back after this, going to the last segment as the market continues to whiff out there. And I am still with Smokey. We'll play him when we come back.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
Anyway, some interesting emails coming in over the counter about whether or not that's at. Somebody in the Den posted an article, John Philly actually, about maybe seawater extraction of uranium becoming a big deal. A lot of people, I think it was when Fukushima blew up, everybody was sure that the American coast would be inundated with nuclear radiation, and certainly it's higher than it should be, and it's not a great thing. But one of the things that you find out is that uranium is very good at bonding with seawater, and means that it kind of spreads out fairly quickly. But it's not as bad as everybody thought it was going to be. It's not good. But I wasn't really that worried about all the nuclear radiation making it to the Pacific coast. In fact, for the most part, it's they're almost ready to start moving back in that Fukushima area. Some areas are still a little hotter than others, but some they'll be able to move back in. Interestingly enough, between that and some of the other new technologies, like being able to make reactors that would never melt down, and also ones that don't use water but use molten salt, can make them 10, 15% times less hazardous. And the question is, what do you do? Dig up coal? Solar's not going to do it. Wind's not going to do it. We've got to have a lot of energy for the world going forward. The question is, where will it come from? Cameco may be having to change its model in the way it makes business, and other suppliers of uranium. But it's kind of hard to actually dig out what the truth of all that is, how viable it is at the moment. Some of this stuff is national security level stuff, and you may never know exactly the deep, dark truth of it. I wanted to look at some other companies before we broke. Got a couple minutes left out here. Oh, I forgot to say, I am bearish.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
Yes, he did. Mr. Smokey gave me a big bear hug. As I said before, I thought IBM was going to pull back fairly significantly. It's back here to where it should have at least some level of support. And doesn't look all that bad. As I said, any of these companies now in the machine learning space seem to be and have fairly decent levels of support. Probably the biggest thing is that every time this comes back, we see Mr. Buffett add to IBM. I think that there is much better low-hanging fruit than IBM if you wanted to short something out here. But I may be more of in the camp of looking around the 142 level out here to 143 for finding a low back again in IBM. We looked at Apple. Microsoft, the CEO is going to be out talking after the bill tonight. I don't know if that's going to do anything for the price, but in after hours, you might see this thing move. Talking a bit. Some questions were also about what I thought about Yahoo and whether or not it's going to be vastly affected by what's going on with the hack, and I still don't think so. This stock is 95% correlated to the way that its Chinese stock trades, so there's not a lot out here. But it certainly looks like Yahoo could come back to $40 with no problem. Anyway, in the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to. I am bearish. And we'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.